There's a version of investing you've probably heard your whole life. It sounds something like this. You need a lot of money. You need to pick the right stocks. You need to know exactly when to buy and sell. And if you get any of it wrong, you lose everything. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of what you've been told about investing isn't just oversimplified. It's actively wrong. And believing it is costing you real money. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about investing and personal finance. No hype, no get-rich-quick energy, just the things that actually work. As always, this is educational content, not financial advice. Do your own research before making any decisions with your money. Today, I'm breaking down 5 investing lies that beginners keep believing and what to do instead. Let's start with the biggest one. This is probably the most damaging lie on the list because it doesn't just mislead you, it stops you from starting at all. The logic goes, I'll start investing when I have 10,000 saved up, or what's the point? I can only put in $50 a month. Here's what that thinking actually costs you. Let's say you start at age 25 investing $200 a month into a broad index fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% annually on average. That's the long run number before inflation, not a guarantee, just what the data shows. If you do that until you're 65, you end up with just over $1.1 million. Now let's say you wait until you're 35. You got a better job, you're putting in $400 a month, double, same return, same retirement age, you end up with around $900,000. You invested twice as much per month, you contributed more total dollars, and you still came out behind by over $200,000. That's the math. Time in the market beats almost everything. And the practical fix is simpler than you think. Most major platforms now let you buy fractional shares. You can own a piece of an S&P 500 index fund for literally $1. Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, they all support this. You don't need 10,000. You need to start. The amount doesn't matter. The habit does. I hear this one constantly, and I understand where it comes from. If you watch someone day trading on their phone, or you see a headline about a crypto coin that crashed 90% overnight, yeah, that looks like a casino. But here's the distinction nobody makes for you. Gambling is a negative sum game. The house is designed to win over time. That's the entire business model. Investing, real investing, is the opposite. When you buy an index fund, you're buying a tiny piece of thousands of actual companies. Companies that make things, sell things, hire people, generate profit. The global economy over long periods grows. That growth shows up in the value of those companies. The numbers back this up. If you had invested in the S&P 500 on any single day in history and held for 20 years, any day, including the day before the 1929 crash, including the peak before the 2008 financial crisis, you would have made money every single time, every single time. That's not gambling, that's probability working in your favor over a long enough timeline. The difference isn't the activity, it's the time horizon, the asset, and whether you treat it like a slot machine or like ownership. Now, those first 2 lies keep you from starting. The next 3, they keep you broke while you're investing. These are the ones that sound smart. That get repeated in comment sections and Reddit threads, and they're wrong in ways that are harder to spot. Like, you've seen this. Someone pulls up a chart and says, if you just bought here and sold here, you'd be up 40%. It always looks obvious in hindsight. The problem is nobody can do it consistently. Not the professionals, not the experts, not the people selling you courses about it. Here's a number I want you to sit with. Over the 20-year period ending in 2023, if you were fully invested in the S&P 500 the entire time, your average annual return was about 9.7%. If you missed just the 10 best days in the market over those 20 years, 10 days out of more than 5,000, your return drops to around 5.5%. 10 days, cut your returns nearly in half. And here's the cruel part. Most of the best days happen within 2 weeks of the worst days. When volatility spikes, when everyone's panicking, that's exactly when people pull out and miss the recovery. The fix isn't complicated. I call it automate and ignore. Set up a recurring investment, same amount, same day, every month. You buy when the market is up, you buy when it's down. Over time, you get the average. And in this case, the average is historically very good. This one is everywhere. Stock picking content dominates YouTube. It's fun to watch. It makes you feel like you're getting an edge. But here's what the data actually says. So SPIVA, that's the Standard & Poor's scorecard that tracks active fund managers, publishes a report every year. Over the 15-year period ending in 2023, roughly 88% of all U.S. large-cap fund managers underperformed the S&P 500. These are professionals, full-time analysts, PhDs, Bloomberg terminals, teams of researchers. 88% of them couldn't beat a boring index fund. and you with a phone and some YouTube videos think you're going to pick the winners, that's not a shot at you. It's a shot at the lie. The lie that stock picking is a skill you can develop fast enough to beat the market consistently. The evidence says almost nobody can, and the few who do statistically might just be lucky. The boring solution that actually works. A low-cost broad market index fund, you capture the entire market. You don't bet on winners, you don't need to. This is the quietest lie, the one that feels responsible. Focus on your career first. Get your savings up, then start investing. And technically, it's not wrong that you have time. You do. But every year you wait is the most expensive year of your life. Here's the same math from earlier, compressed. One person starts at 25 with $300 a month. Another waits until 35 and puts in $600 a month. Both invest in the same index fund, historically averaging 10% annually. At 65, the 25-year-old has roughly $1.7 million. The 35-year-old roughly $1.3 million. The 35-year-old contributed more actual dollars, $216,000 versus $144,000, and still ended up with $400,000 less. That gap, that's not returns on skill. That's returns on time, and you can't get it back. The one action, open an account this week, even if you only put in $20. The habit is what matters. The habit compounds. So those are the 5 lies. You don't need a lot of money. It's not gambling. You can't time the market. You don't need to pick winners. And no, you don't have as much time as you think. The people who win at this long term aren't smarter than you. They just started earlier and they stayed boring. If this helped, subscribe. We talk about this stuff every week, and I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 lies did you believe the longest? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and honestly, I think the answers are going to be fascinating. See you in the next one.